All right, Nick, let's talk about the Southern Cal Trojans. We talked about the Trojans a lot this season because they've made a lot of really, really good moves, Nick. But there's one more in the fold. The Trojans have a new player that has committed to them, and I think this guy is going to be a huge asset for them.
Miles, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. This is a massive addition to the Southern Cal Trojans. But before we get into that report, USC fans got a question for you guys to answer, as always, in the comment section below. This Trojans program has obviously been steeped with playmakers at virtually every position, but I want you to focus on the wide receiver position and give me, in the comment section below, the greatest wide receiver in USC history. There are a lot of great options to go from. I'm a big Keyshawn Johnson fan myself, but whoever it is that you pick, make sure you let us know in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest news out of LA?
Yeah, Nick, this is going to be some massive news, and I can keep the puns up all day, but this is truly, truly incredible. Trojans building on an already strong 2024 recruiting cycle. They have gotten themselves one of the highest rated tight ends in this 2024 class, and that is none other than Walter Matthews. Let me bring up the tweet from Hayes Fawcett at On3 Sports talking about the commitment of Matthews to Southern Cal. It says 4-star tight end Walter Matthews tells me he has committed to USC. The 6'7", 250, some places have him as 260-pound tight end from Haram, Georgia, chose the Trojans over Florida, Miami, and many others. And this is Matthews saying his resume, talking about Lincoln Riley, I could not say no to someone like that. Well, Nick, I do believe that he has a strong resume with tight ends. You think about over in Oklahoma, Mark Andrews played over in that system, very successful tight end. But this guy is a different beast entirely than someone like Mark Andrews. This guy is absolutely massive. I look at the numbers, I look at the size and the weight, Nick, and think, is this guy going to become an offensive tackle or something like that because he's that big? But no, I am assured that he is going to play tight end because he was incredible. And I have one statistic here, Nick, I want to read to you about this guy in high school. As a junior, he averaged 21 yards per reception, and he turned 20 catches that junior season into 8 touchdowns. He is very efficient, and he has a big game threat to his game. But Nick, nonetheless, I want to ask you, what do you think about this huge guy, Walter Matthews, coming over to Southern Cal? And what do you think he adds to this program?
So I'm going to focus on the high level perspective first, because look, this recruit, like you said, he's an incredible talent. I actually think he may become an offensive lineman just because he's such a great athlete and has such a great frame. This guy could, instead of being like a 4th-round pick in the NFL draft in 3 years, 4 years, or whatever, I think he could be a 1st-round pick, top 10, top 15 pick if he moves to tackle in his collegiate career. We'll see how it shakes out, but that's how good of an athlete this guy is. He could put on 60 pounds and not lose hardly an ounce of athleticism. This guy thinks going to be a special football player, regardless of where he lines up. But I want to focus on the fact that Lincoln Riley and company over at USC managed to go deep into Georgia and steal a really talented top flight 4-star recruit. Look at the other offers for this kid, Miles. This is from 24/7 Sports. You look at Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Auburn. You brought up some of the names on the report from Hayes Fawcett. I mean, this guy was heavily recruited by deep SEC schools, deep in SEC country, deep in Georgia. It wasn't like he got him from Oklahoma or Nebraska or Wisconsin or Arizona or Missouri, something where there's a lot of college football talent, but, not as much as compared to the deep Southeast. Lincoln Riley went into really tough territory. I mean, you talk about a West Coast program going into Georgia and pulling a top flight recruit. That is very rare. That is very challenging. And you look at the guy in Riley to get that done, I think to me shows that USC is going to be just fine whenever they transfer out of the Pac-12. One of the big concerns is moving over was how are they going to react in the recruiting game, because they're obviously going to have some issues pulling them different directions. Obviously they're going to have to still focus on California and Southern California and things like that, but it's going to be a different environment when they compete more with other teams on the East Coast. How are they going to handle it? When I look at the fact that they were able to go into Georgia and get a 4-star recruit underneath virtually every SEC school's nose, to me, that's a sign this program's going to be fine whenever they move out of the Pac-12. To me, the recruiting pipeline continues to remain strong. I have no doubt that I don't think USC will have any problems adjusting to whatever their climate continues to be, because Lincoln Riley is literally that good of a recruiter.
Yeah, Nick, and you brought it up. They steal this guy out of Georgia. They had 2 incredible tight ends at Georgia this past season as well. So he saw that. He saw the play there. He saw what Georgia was able to do developing tight ends, and he thought, there's no way I'm going to turn up the opportunity to play for a guy like Lincoln Riley, a guy who is able to come out here and turn this team around. He makes high-powered offenses out of nothing. And I also got to play with Caleb Williams. That's another big one. There's Raiola down in Georgia as well. That's another thing he passes up on because he sees how talented Caleb Williams is. And he thinks 1 year with this guy is going to be worth it for my career going forward. So
Do you think Williams will stay around for his senior year, though, or do you think he just goes to the NFL draft?
I think he'll.
Or do you think this kid maybe thinks Williams will stay and he's just hoping he'll stay and play with Caleb Williams?
You never know.
It couldn't hurt, right?
They could maybe just get some practice in together. Something.
That's true. That's actually a good point. That's actually a really good point.
But I just think you think Brock Bowers in Georgia, you think Darnell Washington. Those are two guys who have a lot of national recognition right now. And this guy comes to Southern Cal who really doesn't have any tight end talent, which might be one of the factors there. Come in, immediately get some big time playing time. So I think this guy comes in, he shows what he's got, and he can immediately add some really high tier depth to this Southern Cal team. I think it's going to be really interesting. Like we said, whether he plays tight end, whether he plays tackle, he's going to be an automatic impact to this roster.